Union heads of state are expected to announce a peace plan for Ivory Coast this week. But that may be too late as violence surrounding the political crisis. Government draws the country, rather the two governments that exist there, are drawing the country closer to return to civil war. VOA West Africa correspondent Scott Stearns reports from Ivory Coast.
Civilians from Abidjan's Abobo neighborhood continue to flee fighting between security forces loyal to incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo and militia who support the United Nations certified winner of November's vote, former Prime Minister Alassane Ouattara. Fighting in Abobo Sunday forced the pro-Gbagbo state-run television off the air for many people in Abidjan. Gbagbo youth leader Charles Goudet says the rebellion is being backed by UN peacekeepers who are helping to spread Ouattara propaganda and transport Ouattara supporters. So he's calling on Gbagbo militants to block the movement of all UN personnel in Ivory Coast.
I'm asking all the youth of Ivory Coast to organize in militias in order to stop the movement of the United Nations mission in Ivory Coast.
Goudet says Gbagbo supporters are now planning to take control of the hotel where Mr. Ouattara is living, a hotel that's protected by more than 3,000 UN peacekeepers.
The Gulf Hotel must be liberated before a week's time, and we must organize ourselves in the neighborhoods to mobilize in our districts.
The UN mission here is condemning what it calls a new style of propaganda by Gbagbo supporters. It denies transporting rebel forces or spreading pro-Ouattara information, saying what it calls these wicked lies are intended only to create hatred among Gbagbo supporters to prevent the United Nations from protecting civilians. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon says that's a dangerous escalation.
Clashes between security forces loyal to Mr. Gbagbo and armed groups opposing them have resulted in significant civilian fatalities in several areas of Abidjan. We are also receiving reports of renewed fighting in the west of the country. Once again, I urge the security forces loyal to Mr. Gbagbo to stop the violence.
The Secretary General says continuing violence is drawing the country closer to a return to open conflict. The African Union panel meets again in Mauritania Friday to come up with a political solution that African Union leaders say will be legally binding on all Ivorians. But this seems increasingly to be a conflict that will be resolved militarily as violence spreads and both sides here prepare for more fighting. Scott Stearns, VOA News, Abidjan.